Hi everybody, my name is Jessy and thank you so much for joining me today. So I wanted to talk about learning to use my voice. Lately I've been watching and reading a lot of articles written by or written about strong female leaders. But I want this to be an inclusive conversation where everybody feels welcome and everybody feels included. Whilst it was inspired by strong female leaders, it is for everybody who feels like they have come to, or they're looking for a way to use their voice, or they are proudly using their voice. It's no secret that I have lived a life filled with challenges and roller coasters that have made to break me. And something that I learned recently, which is quite profound because I'm 28 years old and after suffering from this abuse from the age of, I would say, 12, I had a different way of looking at the ways that my life basically. And I had grown up in an environment where I was taught that being silent and not rocking the boat was so much more important than speaking up and speaking your truth. I've always been the kind of person who's always had a ton of emotions, and so I've always suppressed. I did try and rebel in various ways, one of which was that I opened a private blog and so I'd be very honest about how I was feeling and what I was going through. So I have always been afraid of my own shadow. I've always been afraid of my own voice, and I haven't used my own voice in a way that I could have. I have been given a ton of privilege in my life to be able to do that, and I never did. But the biggest thing for me was that I had allowed people time and time again to tell me to just sit pretty and not say anything, and that if I just ignore it, it will go away. From a young age, being told that you shouldn't be speaking your truth because it's embarrassing, I developed some really negative and really toxic characteristics. When I got to a point where I really needed to go to therapy, I found it really hard to be able to actually articulate myself. And even in my relationships now, I find it really hard to be able to be open about how I'm feeling. Slowly but surely, and if you watch more than one of my videos, you're starting to see that. I think I am becoming a lot more open. In fact, one of the biggest things so many people tell me all the time is, Jessy, I admire the way that you are so open and honest. And I'm like, thank you, like genuinely thank you for saying that, because I've never felt like I could be honest. But it wasn't until I shared a secret of mine about the body shaming I was experiencing at work that I realized that I needed to try and shake the lifetime of teaching that I had been given in order to make a difference, or in order to help other people who were like me. I didn't realize until I started using my voice that there were people like me. I never realized how important it was to use your voice, because what a gift it is to be able to use your voice in order to make a difference in this world. I had for so long thought that the challenges that were being given to me and were being thrust upon me in my life was just made there to hurt me and break me as a human being. One of the reasons I'd been silent for so long, not just because I was taught to be silent and that it was better to sweep everything under the rug, and isn't that saying, you know, eventually there's going to be a lump in your rug that's going to trip you over. Abusers and tormentors, the ones that inflict so much pain in your life, they count on you being silent. And that's how they get away with things. They count on you being silent and not saying anything, and almost intimidating you, making you afraid to admit what you're going through. And it isn't until we find the courage within ourselves to finally speak our truth that we realize that actually they were wrong. That people will support us, that people will love us and hug us and celebrate us for being able to share the painful things that we've been through. 3 months ago, I would have given anything to be able to take away all the pain and suffering that I'd been through in order to just have a normal life. 3 months on now that I have learned a lot more about myself, learned a lot more about the community I'm in, and more about people really. And really my heart has changed. Now I wouldn't give that up. And the reason for that is because it has made my heart the way it is. It has made me strong in certain ways, and whilst I have a long way to go, I know that I can get through it. And one of the best ways that I've been able to get through it is by using my voice, by sharing my experiences. And the reason that I share my experiences is because every so often I get a message that I've been through it too, or I don't feel so alone. And I think back to younger Jessy, who was going through that and felt very much alone. I guess it makes me realize that I went through those painful memories and painful moments, and before it was just to go through it, but now there's a purpose to it. We all have a voice that we can use. Some of us use it for good and some of us use it for bad, and some of us don't use it at all. And I'm not trying to shame anyone who isn't using their voice because they don't feel confident, because I know what that's like. I know what it's like to be afraid. That's why I continue to share and talk about the difficult stuff, have difficult conversations, because I want those people who are afraid to use their voice to realize that once you step out of your comfort zone and you really allow yourself to just be and allow yourself to live your truth, your life will be so much happier and less heavy. I know that it sounds like a weird concept, using your voice, and it is one of those abilities that we have that we take for granted. Being able to say I love you to somebody, being able to say hello, being able to say you're proud of somebody is such a simple thing that we do take for granted. But we have the ability to share our stories in order to make somebody feel less alone. And whether you make one person feel less alone or 1,000,000 person less alone, that is contributing to a positive way of changing this world. So how can we start to change that? By speaking out about the things that happen in our offices, in our workplace, in our home. And instead of being afraid and being silenced by those people who benefit from our silence, think, no, I deserve better and I need to start speaking. For years I have been silenced, and even now people continue to silence me, even some people who are really meant to be very close to my heart. You may lose some people, but really those people that you lose from living your truth and finally being free from the prison that you've been keeping yourself in, were they meant to be in your life after all? Were they benefiting you anyway? We have to be able to live our lives the way we want to and the way we deserve to, because otherwise we're living our lives for everybody else. And that can be so difficult and so painful and so heavy. Instead, embrace the fact that there are so many people out there who are going to just welcome you for being the real you. And that is, weirdly enough, such a difficult thing to do, but yet is one of the greatest pleasures in being a human being. I hope that that was helpful to you. I hope that that will help encourage you to start speaking up and using your voice for the good. We all just want a better life for ourselves. And in order to have a better life for ourselves, we have to create an environment where we can thrive and we can be empowered. How do we create that? By putting good into our communities, our society. Start speaking up so that we can start making the changes we need to in life, because we all deserve to have a happy, healthy, safe life, right? I hope that you have a wonderful day. As always, please be good to yourself, and I'll see you later. Bye.